welcome back to Ascended Masters 101. Here's where we talk all about the teachings of the Ascended Masters. And I want to tell you that this video is for you. If you've ever done anything to anyone that wasn't too great, or if anyone ever did anything to you that was less than awesome, which I think is every person on this planet, right? That's all of us. So that puts all of us in the position of needing to forgive others and needing forgiveness extended to us, right? We've all done bad things and have had bad things done to us. But why? Why is forgiveness so important? Why do we need to forgive? It's hard to forgive, right? It can be hard to let go of those resentments and those hurts and injustices that have been done to us. And so I thought it might be nice to talk about the spiritual benefits of forgiveness so we can have some motivation, some context, some encouragement to help us to go ahead and forgive, whether that is forgiving others, forgiving ourselves, or both. And I'd like to mention that the reason we are talking about forgiveness in our playlist on the Violet Flame is because forgiveness is one of the qualities of the Violet Flame. When you invoke the Violet Flame through prayers and mantras and songs, you are at the same time inviting the energies of forgiveness and resolution into your life, into your consciousness, into your aura. Essentially, the Violet Flame helps us to forgive. So knowing in the back of our minds and being encouraged that we have the spiritual tool of the Violet Flame to help us forgive, let's begin with the benefits of forgiveness. So, benefit number one of forgiving is that forgiveness is actually a huge key on the path to the ascension. Forgiving helps us get closer to our ascension. And if you're unfamiliar, the ascension is the ultimate goal of life. It's the gold medal of the spiritual Olympics. It is graduation from the schoolroom of earth. It is that permanent reunion with God that our souls have been seeking. And if you're a spiritual seeker, I would venture to say it's probably what you've been looking for your whole life and maybe many lifetimes. It is the goal of the spiritual path that the Ascended Masters teach us how to walk. That's why these teachings are so incredible. And if your eyes are glazing over by my enthusiasm, and this is the very first time you've heard about any of this, we have put together a video especially for you on this channel called You and Your Ascension. I'm going to put a link in the description below for that, and I'd like to personally invite you to watch it after this, because it is the most exciting topic, in my opinion, on this entire planet, together with the Violet Flame. So you are in for a treat. So the Ascended Masters outline this path to the ascension for us very clearly. And what they explain is that forgiveness is an aspect of the Violet Flame, and it is a key for each one of us on the path to the ascension. So forgiveness isn't just a nice thing to do. It's much more important than that. It's crucial. And the Ascended Masters has spoken countless times about the value of forgiveness and how it has a pivotal role in our spiritual development. There is a dictation or a message through the agency of the Holy Spirit from the Ascended Master Jesus the Christ, in which he outlines a number of benefits of forgiveness, and we're going to cover those in this video. And I think that this is so appropriate, so sweet and tender, that we are hearing from the same beloved Jesus that taught love and forgiveness to his disciples and to the multitudes in his embodiment in Galilee. So in this dictation, Jesus says, quote, "So ere the sun set and you retire at night, make your peace with God and man. This is especially important for those who desire to make their ascension in this life." End quote. And we'll cover what Jesus says about that in more detail in episode 4 of this playlist, but I'm including it here because it highlights how important forgiveness is for those who are striving towards their ascension. So that is benefit number 1. Okay, benefit number 2, 3, and 4 all come from the same paragraph in this same dictation from Beloved Jesus. So I'll read this passage to you and then we'll cover each point. Jesus says to us, quote, "Oh, let there be the binding of the sense of sin and of the condemnation upon those who stray from the law. Have I not forgiven thee, and forgiven thee again and again? And have I not admonished you to forgive 70 times 7? I say 7,000 times 7, give the cup of mercy, give the cup of forgiveness, and discover an astounding transmutation of your own karma and of the wrongs that you have carried with you for so long because you have condemned yourself, criticized yourself, and therefore felt that you could not rise again. Thus, as you forgive others their trespasses, you yourself are forgiven." End quote. So those are a number of benefits that come with forgiving others, right? So let's look at that a little bit closer. Benefit number 2 of forgiveness is that when we forgive others their trespasses, Jesus is telling us, their mistakes, we ourselves are forgiven. That already is huge. To be forgiven. We can choose to forgive others, but how do we go about being forgiven? I know that for me, the pain of being hurt is nothing compared to the pain of knowing that I have done something to hurt someone else. So this makes me think of the Ascended Master's version of the Our Father, and one of the passages reads, "I am forgiving all life this day, even as I am also all life forgiving me." So as we forgive, we open the flow of forgiveness to flow back to us. And this is such a gift. Benefit of forgiveness number 3. Jesus is telling us that when we truly forgive, there is an astounding transmutation of our own karma. Now, this is a big gift because balancing your karma is another huge requirement for the ascension. We need to balance 51% of our untransmuted karma in order to earn the prize of our ascension. And Jesus is telling us that when we forgive, there is an astounding transmutation of our karma. So forgiveness helps us with 2 requirements for the ascension. Forgiveness as a requirement in and of itself, and forgiveness as a way to balance a lot of karma. So that's 2 for the price of 1, right? Making forgiveness a high ticket item, a top priority for those who are serious about their spiritual path. Moving on to benefit of forgiveness number 4. Jesus then goes on to tell us that there is also an astounding transmutation of the wrongs that we have carried with us because we have judged and criticized ourselves. And we can all easily think of examples of this, right? Things that we are upset with ourselves for having done, things that make us feel unworthy, memories of our less than glory moments that haunt our memories that we judge ourselves for. We want to be rid of those things, right? Those are burdens of self-condemnation and judgment, and they are icky and they're sticky and heavy. And what Jesus is explaining to us is that when we forgive, those burdens are lifted. That is truly a gift, making forgiveness an even wiser thing to do. It's not always easy, and it may take some time or even a long time. There are layers of forgiveness, and you don't necessarily forgive everything down to the bottom layer of the hurt all at once, right? But now we know that it is so worth it, and that embarking on this journey of forgiveness is worth the effort to go through the layers and to get to the bottom of it and to find that resolution. It's worth it. So, benefit number 5 of forgiveness is that it frees you from being bound to people that you have not forgiven. Now, this one is quite enlightening as well as somewhat sobering, and it's definitely one to pay attention to. So the Ascended Master Magda explains this in a dictation in volume 61, number 14. And she says, quote, "If you are overly serious about your own faults, you will be overly serious about the faults of another, and then you will not be quick to forgive. If you do not forgive, you will retain the image of fault. And in retaining that image of fault, you will become an idolater. For this is idolatry, to hold the incorrect image. Have you ever thought that by holding the memory of the sins of others, you are worshiping idols, the idols of the carnal mind, the golden calf? You would not count yourself as being partakers of idolatry. Yet as soon as you remember the wrongs that are done by others toward you, then you are bound to them by your idolatrous consciousness. Only love can set life free, and only pure love is free of idolatry." End quote. So we know from the Ascended Masters that karma binds people together. And this is why people reincarnate or have lifetimes over and over again with often the same people as they work out their karma and learn to forgive and to love one another. If you have difficulty with someone but you can't seem to get away from them, chances are that this might be a karmic tie. This is a bigger topic, the whole concept of karma and reincarnation, but what Beloved Magda is explaining to us is that we don't want to be bound or tied together karmically with people that we haven't forgiven, to be bound to them because we haven't forgiven them. So, and if we don't want that to happen, then love and forgiveness is the way to go. And another key that Magda gave us is that not being overly serious about our own faults or the faults of others can help us not fall into non-forgiveness in the first place. If you're not overly serious about their faults or your faults, it keeps you from falling prey to non-forgiveness. It makes you think, am I overly serious about my faults? And what about the faults of others? So this is food for thought on the spiritual path. So those are a lot of benefits, and I'm sure there are many, many more. These are just 5 that I came across. I'm sure there are many more than that, but even just that is phenomenal. So let's recap quickly. So benefit number one is that forgiving helps us towards our ascension. Benefit number 2, when we forgive, we ourselves are forgiven. Benefit number 3, when we forgive, there is an astounding transmutation of our karma. Benefit 4, when we forgive, our burdens of self-condemnation are lifted. Benefit number 5, forgiveness frees us from being bound to people that we have not forgiven. So after learning this, we are super motivated to forgive, right? But the actual act of forgiving isn't always so easy to do. I have found it can be really hard. And when it comes down to it, it's hard to really let things go sometimes, especially when what happened really damaged you or had lasting effects. I have personally found that there are a number of misconceptions about forgiveness that make it harder to forgive. And when those misconceptions are cleared up, the way to forgiveness becomes much easier. So in the next video, let's go ahead and debunk 3 large myths about forgiveness so we can begin to reap those spiritual benefits of forgiveness that we just talked about and move forward into freedom and true and lasting forgiveness. So we'll do that in the next episode. I will see you there.